Hi, this is Emily Leiphart of Art from the Heart, and in this video I'm showing a card made with several stamp and die sets from Waffle Flower. I wanted to make a Chinese New Year card to show the versatility of these sets. February 8th is the year of the monkey, and this Willy Friends set is perfect for that. The other stamp set I'll be using is the stocking stamp set. I'm going to use the rectangular gift as a red lucky envelope. Finally, I'll be using the big scripted Celebrate sentiment from the stamp set of the same name. Next, I'm going to stamp the pair of monkeys and the gift. I store coordinating stamp and die sets in these pockets by Ellen Hudson. I used to store my stamps and dies separately, but I recently converted. Now I can't imagine why I did it the other way before. It's very handy to have everything together. I missed a spot on the monkey's ear, so I just use my Copic multi-liner and fill in the line rather than re-stamp the monkey. If you don't already have one of these, I highly recommend it. I have 3 widths of these pens, and I also have the Memento Tuxedo black marker, which works in the same way, except that tip is much thinner, so I only use it when there are really small spaces to fill in. It's good to have various widths. After quickly stamping the gift, I can start coloring with Copic markers. Since I plan on turning the gift into a red envelope, I'm coloring it red. As always, I use the lightest shade first to fill in the object, then add shading using the medium and darkest shades. I go back over the entire section with the lightest shade to blend in all 3 shades together and make it look seamless. Now I'm going to repeat this process with the monkeys in 2 shades. For the darkest sections, I'll be using E71, 74, and 77. I fill in the sections with the lightest shade and add shading where it would occur naturally. After blending in all 3 shades of brown, I add pink to their cheeks. I add more pink to the girls' cheeks and less to the boys' cheeks. Then I grab warm grays to color in the monkeys' faces, ears, and bellies. At first I color around the pink cheeks, but when it comes time to blend in all 3 shades of warm grays, I will go over the pink and then add more pink pigment when I'm done with the warm grays. I love that you can mix 2 completely different Copic colors this way. Next, I'm going to place the coordinating dies over the colored images, adhere them in place with washi tape, and run them through my Big Shot. After that, all I need to do is use the tip of my tweezers to push out the little piece above the girl's left arm. I don't know what it is, but I always love when there's a little hollow area in dies like this. It just makes the character so much cuter than when it's completely solid. Off camera, I stamped the sentiment in black, and I thought it was way too dark. I considered stamping it in red because red and gold are very important for Chinese New Year. In the end, I decided that a heat-embossed gold sentiment would be best, and I'll share that after I tie gold string to the gift or red envelope. In order to secure the string to the die cut, I'm going to place a piece of score tape to the back of it. That way it won't shift when I'm tying the bow at the front, and it also won't shift in the hands of the recipient. I've shown my gift wrapping method in past videos, but if you haven't seen any of those, I basically start at the front, wrap the 2 ends at the back, twist them 90 degrees, and they come back around to the front. If the package is larger, it's easier to tie, and I would be more neat about the position of the string or ribbon, but since this is tiny, I'm not going to care too much. I'm going to use Glossy Accents to hold the knot of the bow in place, as well as the tails of the bow to the gift so they cover up the stamped bow. When working with Glossy Accents, it's important to hold the adhered item in place until it's dry. Then it definitely won't be moving anywhere. After I'm sure the string will stay in place, I trim off the tails to the desired length and the red envelope is done. Now I'm going to re-stamp the sentiment using the Misty stamping tool. This front panel is 1/4 inch smaller than a standard A2 card base. I place it on the stamping surface and hold it in place with the magnets. Then I arrange the monkeys and the red envelope so I know where to place the sentiment. I've cut out the part where I put my big head in the way to make sure that the sentiment is straight on the cover. When I'm sure it is, I ink up the stamp with Versamark ink. I do this twice to make sure it gets a good inking. The Misty tool is great for double stamping purposes. I like to use a creased piece of scrap paper to catch the embossing powder and return it to the container after I'm done. I usually pour the powder on the ink in 2 directions to make sure there's good coverage. When heat setting, I always heat up the back of the panel to make sure it's set at the base, as well as to flatten the cardstock as much as possible. Sometimes the paper gets warped in one direction, and when you heat it on the opposite side, it reduces the warping. When I have all the pieces together, I decide that I want to have a more visible background on the card base, so I'm going to do my signature black gesso brushing along the edges. I squeeze a bit of gesso on a scrap piece of paper and use a mixed media brush to drag it along the edges. Using linen cardstock as a base helps to get that textured appearance. I got a bit too much black along the top edge, and since black is a depressing color for Chinese New Year, I need to lighten it up. I'm going to add some white gesso on top to basically erase some of the black. Originally, I was only going to go over that top edge with white gesso, but later I decided to go over all four sides so it would be more uniform. It would look like I did it right the first time. Gesso dries so fast, and that's another thing I love about it. I adhere the front panel flat to the card base. The monkeys and the red envelope will be popped up with foam tape. I could have left the card as it is at this point, but I felt it needed a little something extra. I decided to add a small yellow enamel heart on the girl's belly. This draws on the gold string and the gold sentiment. A red heart would have been too distracting. The hearts I used are retired, but I've linked up to another brand of enamel hearts. I love having these cute little embellishments on hand. Now my card is complete. Please refer to the supply links below if you're interested in any of the products I used in this video. You can also visit my blog for stills and more information about my card. Thanks so much for watching.